Gladys, the Magic Chicken by Adam Rubin and illustrated by Adam Rex. So this book starts out with a map, and we can see that it seems to go all around here through the shimmering sea. This all happened a long time ago. 3,000 years before your grandma's grandma was born. We call it ancient times. And in ancient times, they talked like this. Lo and behold, how's this chicken doth dance after feasting. See that dancing chicken, kid? That's our hero. That there is Gladys. Every day, Gladys followed the sheep, who followed the dog, who followed the shepherd boy through the mountain pass. The shepherd boy worked all day and never went to school, because in ancient times, school had not been invented yet. It's true. Look it up. Well, the shepherd boy, he never learned how to look things up, or how to read or write, or know science. So, understandably, he was not nearly as smart as you are. For instance, one day the shepherd boy found a puddle, which he thought was a hole in the ground with an upside-down boy inside. To be fair, the shepherd boy had never seen his own reflection before, and after a few minutes of waving, he did eventually realize he was looking at himself. He was horrified. "Misery and woe! I'm hideous!" cried the shepherd boy suddenly, which frightened Gladys, who plooped out an egg. He wept and wailed and pounded his fists in the mud. Gladys nuzzled the boy's neck to comfort him. "Oh, Gladys!" sighed the shepherd boy. "I wish that I were beautiful." Years passed, and the shepherd boy changed. His arms became thick, and his chestnut hair fell past his shoulders. He grew strong, wrestling the sheep to give them haircuts. The shepherds call it shearing, but sheep call it baa. That strapping shepherd boy could shear a sheep in 67 seconds flat, though it should be noted, clocks had not been invented yet in ancient times. One day, a traveling merchant came to the mountains. His wagon was full of treasures from faraway lands. Spices. The shepherd boy had never tasted pepper. Fabrics. The shepherd boy had never touched silk. And, rarest of all, a shiny, polished looking-glass. Well, heck, the shepherd boy hadn't seen his reflection since all those years before in that muddy puddle, so at first the handsome face in the mirror startled him. But this time it only took him one wave to figure it out. The shepherd boy was overjoyed. He scooped up Gladys and kissed her smack on the beak. This confused the traveling merchant, who had seen many strange things in his travels, but none quite as odd as a shepherd smooching a chicken. "Gladys hath granted my wish to be beautiful," declared the shepherd boy. "'Tis a magic chicken, a magic wish-granting chicken." This intrigued the traveling merchant. He proposed a trade. And that's how the traveling merchant wound up riding away with Gladys in his wagon, while the shepherd boy was left with a shiny new looking-glass in which to admire himself. Gladys had never been down from the mountains before. She had never seen the shimmering sea. She had never heard the wind whip through the wheat. She had never smelled a tired old donkey. "Magic chicken! Get your magic chicken here! Every wish granted! Responds to Gladys. No wishing prior to purchase." The traveling merchant shouted till his throat was sore. The villagers in the market bought magic stones and magic bones, but for some reason none of them believed a chicken could be magic. "I wish I was rid of this stinking chicken," muttered the traveling merchant as he packed up his wares. And just like that, he realized Gladys was gone. A long-bearded bandit had stolen Gladys away and was planning to eat her for dinner. "Ye be a magic chicken, eh, Gladys?" chuckled the long-bearded bandit as he lit a fire under his pot. "Well, I wish to visit the palace of the Purple Pooh-Bah." The long-bearded bandit laughed and laughed, a little too loudly, actually, because a brave swordsman overheard the commotion and decided to investigate. "Hark! Thief! From whence did you pilfer this chicken?" The brave swordsman deftly disarmed the long-bearded bandit and bound him with rope. He rescued Gladys. Then he carried the thief to the palace of the Purple Pooh-Bah and threw him in the dungeon. "Curse you, magic chicken! This is not what I meant!" cried the long-bearded bandit. A sudden blast of trumpets startled the brave swordsman, but not as much as Gladys, who plooped out an egg that went splat on his shoe. Flower girls threw petals, musicians played and danced, and the soldiers of the royal guard marched in perfect unison as they carried the Purple Pooh-Bah toward the palace. To march in the royal guard was the greatest wish of the brave swordsman. So when the Purple Pooh-Bah passed by, he puffed up his chest to look as brave as possible. "Pardon me, brave swordsman," said the Purple Pooh-Bah, "but why dost thou carry a chicken?" The brave swordsman blushed and bowed. "'Tis said to be a magic chicken, your highness." The Purple Pooh-Bah chuckled. He was always skeptical of any so-called magic, but there was something undeniably amusing about that chicken. He decided she would make an excellent gift for his daughter, the learned princess, who, by the way, had become learned thanks to private tutors. Remember, there were no schools in ancient times. In exchange for the chicken, the brave swordsman was invited to join the royal guard, just as he had wished. "Thank you, Gladys," he called as the Purple Pooh-Bah carried her away. The Purple Pooh-Bah had a thriving kingdom, a lovely palace, and a vault full of magnificent jewels. But all he really wanted was for his only daughter to be happy. When the Purple Pooh-Bah opened the learned princess's door, she hurled an urn past his head. It smashed to pieces against the wall, which is a shame, really, because nowadays an urn from ancient times would be worth $1 million at least. "I offer a gift," protested the Purple Pooh-Bah. "'Tis a magic chicken named Gladys." "Get out of my room!" screamed the learned princess. The Purple Pooh-Bah left the chicken, shut the door, and dusted the bits of urn from his robe. "Teenagers," he shook his head. And that's how Gladys went from pecking through sheep dung to living in the royal palace. When Gladys first tried a fig, she danced a boogie. It tickled the learned princess to tears. The Purple Pooh-Bah heard his daughter's laughter echoing through the halls of the palace, and he had to wonder if maybe the chicken really was magic. The learned princess spent all her time reading scrolls. They did not have books in ancient times. She longed to explore the wide world which she had read so much about, but her tutors feared for her safety, so they kept her locked in her room. The only one who brought her joy was Gladys, so she wrote her a song. Gladys, the magic chicken, she can work her magic for you. Gladys, the magic chicken, make a wish and watch it come true. Her dancing is enchanting, her eggs are tasty too. Gladys, the magic chicken, abracockadoodle-dee-doo. The tune was a very catchy little ditty, and soon everyone in the kingdom was singing it. But while Gladys gladly gobbled figs, the learned princess gazed out her window at the shimmering sea and sighed. Her real wish was to escape from the palace. Crash, bang, boom! The learned princess shrieked as a fearsome pirate swung through the window, flipped through the air, and landed on the floor with a sword clenched in her teeth. Gladys let an egg go ploop. "You're coming with me," threatened the fearsome pirate. "I'm here to kidnap you for ransom." "Hooray!" squealed the learned princess. "Hooray?" asked the fearsome pirate. The learned princess happily packed her bags, mostly scrolls, a warm cloak, and, of course, Gladys. On the deck of the mighty pirate ship, the crew made merry and sang songs of the sea with the learned princess. They fed Gladys grapes and watched her dance. "To adventure!" The fearsome pirate raised her goblet and winked at the chicken. "May it follow us everywhere we go." Swoosh, boosh, kavoosh! Flaming arrows rained down from the sky. The ship was under attack. Rival pirates climbed aboard and drew their swords. A vicious fight broke out, claiming many lives and limbs. The learned princess managed to escape, thanks to the valiant efforts of the fearsome pirate, but she wept as she rode away, for her beloved chicken was nowhere to be found. Relax, relax. Gladys was fine. This story has a happy ending. Calm down. Gladys wound up perched on the head of a drowning sailor who splashed and gasped and thrashed through the churning sea. Very few people learned proper swimming technique back in ancient times. Eventually, the drowning sailor grabbed hold of a floating plank of wood and prayed that he might somehow survive to sail another day. When the drowning sailor awoke, he was surprised to discover he had not drowned after all. Gladys hopped off his head to hunt for clams in the sand. "Praise be the magic chicken that hath saved my life," shouted the no longer drowning sailor. Then he coughed up a bucket of seawater, lay down, and took a nap. A lone rider heard the shouting and approached the beach to investigate. Gladys pecked a clam from its shell, slurped it down her gullet, and did her little boogie dance. The lone rider smiled, which she hadn't done in a very long time. She dismounted her horse, scooped up the chicken, and decided to take her for a ride. They rode away from the sea, past the town, through the fields, and up toward the mountain pass. The horse galloped so hard and so fast, it jostled an egg loose from a jiggling chicken. As they approached the foothills, the road was blocked by a flock of sheep in dire need of shearing. Their shepherd had been distracted by his desperate search for a long-lost friend. "Gladys!" he exclaimed as he dropped to his knees. "Forgive me! I smashed that cursed looking-glass, what had consumed my mind. how I wished upon wished that I might find you again." The lone rider spied the shepherd's sturdy form and healthy mouth. "And how I wished upon wish that I might find a worthy companion," she whispered to her horse. And so the no longer a boy shepherd, and the no longer lone rider, and the dog, and the sheep, and of course Gladys, made a very happy home in the mountains. Maybe Gladys never granted any wishes, but her song had already been written, and the ballad was passed down from generation to generation, and translated from one language to the next, forgotten, remembered, and eventually printed in this book, so that someday you too could share the story of Gladys with someone who wishes to see magic in the world, even if they are only looking at a chicken. Ploop. And that is the end of Gladys, the Magic Chicken.